right. So let me push you back. All right. So today's article is pretty much not the absolute worst logical conclusion to this trans panic bullshit we're dealing with right now, but it is close. So let's just get right to the article. Lesbian teen cornered by server in bathroom and forced to prove gender files charges. As she should, because what the hell? A cisgender teenage girl from Minnesota has filed a gender discrimination case against a Buffalo Wild Wings location after a server reportedly followed her to the bathroom and made her prove she is not transgender. Which, I'm sorry, what? Oh, why am I so sweaty? I mean, what? Why? I mean, she looks boyish. I can see where people could see that, but not to the point where she is an obvious boy. So, this server has heard her speak. And trust me, I will link this article because it comes with a video. You will hear her speak. She does not sound like what you would consider a boy to sound. So we're going to go by the facial features and the fact that, she's wearing a sweatshirt, so her boobs don't show. So we're going to go by that, but we're not going to question the voice. I'm sorry, what? Okay. Jerika Mudra, an 18-year-old high school student who is biracial and a lesbian, was out to dinner with a friend at the restaurant's chain's Owatonna branch in April when the incident occurred. She recounted how the two sensed hostility from the staff from the moment they arrived, saying in a video posted by local advocacy organization Gender Justice that their server was rude and giving us dirty looks. If you're, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but if you are sensing hostility from the entire staff, not just your server, maybe go someplace else. I mean, why would you want to put yourself through that? So anyway, the server largely ignored them, Mudra said, until she left the table to use the bathroom. That's when the employee followed her in, pounded on her stall door, and proclaimed, "This is a woman's restroom. The man needs to get out of here." Mudra said that she told the server, "I am a lady," but the worker still insisted, "You have to get out now." So from the very moment they walked into this restaurant, they were pegged as being trans. Or at least she was. I don't know if the other friend was also pegged. But, okay. So even if the person is trans, why the hostility? I mean, they didn't do anything wrong. And now we have an employee harassing a patron simply because she thinks she knows what girls should look like. And because she doesn't look like a girl in her eyes. I don't know if that's why they're talking about race, because I don't see anything about her that screams that this only happens to black people. I mean, look at Rachel Maddow. A lot of times she looks like a boy, but we all know she's not. So, I don't know. Cornered and alone, Mudra said that she was forced to unzip her sweatshirt and show the server her clothed breasts to prove her gender. The server didn't say anything else and left the restroom. Now, thankfully, she doesn't know that top surgery is a thing. But, so that's good. But, what the fuck? What if this girl had a double mastectomy? What the fuck would she be showing her? She wouldn't be able to show her breasts unless she had them reconstructed, because some women do that. So what else would she have to do? Drop her pants? Actually, the fact that she had to the server had to pound on the door shows that there's no danger in her being there, even if she was trans. Because what are you seeing? Oh, yes, that would be nothing, because if you could see people's genitals and creep on people, the server would have been able to see just that and creep on her. But that's not what she did. She did creep on her by demanding to see her breasts. Ugh. This wasn't the first time something like this happened, but this is the worst time, Mudra said, because other people, they just say, like, this is a girl's restroom, and they just go on about their day. But this one kept it going. She was mad screaming. She made me feel very uncomfortable. Now after that, I just don't like going in public bathrooms. I just hold it in. And now I just think, like, oh, I'm going to get harassed. I'm going to keep getting harassed like this. That is just so sad. She shouldn't have to feel that way. I mean, I don't like going into public restrooms either, but I find them icky. It's not because, oh, I'm going to get harassed or, people are going to creep on me, because I don't think like that. I'm not concerned about everything that goes bump in the night. I actually don't feel the need to be afraid of every little thing that moves. So, now, I wonder if these people had just gotten, just learned about trans people and were super excited to show how much they learned and be heroes in their own heads because they've pegged a trans person. It's like, no, you pegged a lesbian girl who looked boyish. It's really very, very stupid. All right. Gender Justice has filed a charge of discrimination on behalf of Mudra with the Minnesota Department of Human Rights, the body that enforces the state's Human Rights Act. Though Mudra is not trans, she would still have a gender discrimination case even if she was. Minnesota is one of 21 states that legally protects trans people's rights to use the facilities that correspond with their gender identity. Exactly, as well they should, because, again, no harm is coming to them from trans women using women's bathrooms or trans men using men's bathrooms. So, I'm not sure what the problem is. While no criminal charges have been filed and it's unclear if any will be, the event as described by Mudra could fall under the legal definitions of sexual harassment, sexual assault, and false imprisonment. Megan Peterson, executive director at Gender Justice, said that the confrontation could have also led to further violence. Exactly. What if she actually did know that top surgery is a thing and demanded that she drop her pants? or she wants to check to see if the breasts are real or whatever, or she grabs her by the crotch. I mean, so much could have happened to this girl simply because the employee is a fucking moron. This kind of gender policing is unfortunately nothing new. And yet, in our current climate, we have to ask, what if Jerrica had been a trans person? Peterson said in a statement. Would this story have ended differently? That's a terrifying reality too many trans people live with every day. Now, like I said, top surgery is a thing. So, yes, if she was a trans person, this could have escalated if the trans woman hadn't had top surgery yet. But what if she had? At that point, she's no different than a cis woman in this girl's mind, because all she asked was to see her breasts over cloth. So it's not like she would have known the difference between real breasts and trans women's breasts. Jerrica's story sits at the intersection of anti-LGBTQ plus panic, racism, and rigid gender norms and stereotypes, Peterson continued. A growing culture of suspicion and control is targeting trans, gender nonconforming, and black girls and women. Anyone who doesn't match narrow ideas of how women should look or behave. When people are harassed just for existing, none of us are truly safe. Exactly. I mean, there have been plenty of stories. Actually, I did a previous one of a woman who ended up getting fired because she just happens to be a tall employee who works at Target. And she was harassed by a customer, a male customer, who refused to believe that she wasn't trans simply because she's tall. Which makes you wonder, what world does this man live in? Because volleyball players are tall, basketball players are tall, nobody questions their gender. Well, most of them don't. So, yeah, exactly. Once you decide that women fit this mold, women should look like this, women should be, no taller than this tall, or that they should have long hair, they should be wearing form-fitting clothing so they can show off their figure, because that's what women are supposed to do. There are just so many stupid rules that women would have to follow. And same thing with men. What, are men going to have to wear skin-tight jeans to show their penis? So people will see that they're men? I mean, it's just so stupid. I've mentioned a story that I saw of a parent waiting for their son in the bath when the son went to the bathroom, trying to convince someone that he's a boy because he has long hair. And in this guy's stupid mind, boys don't have long hair. Heck, my nephew, until he got to junior high, he had long hair. Then when he was, 8th grade, freshman year, something like that, he cut his hair. Mainly because he was sick of probably people, thinking he's a girl because he had beautiful hair. Now, almost immediately he ended up getting a girlfriend, and I just think that I don't think it's because people thought that Sam was a girl, but that they were just jealous of his hair. But regardless, it is just so stupid to assume that. Especially once at this point, his voice had dropped. It was obvious he was a boy. So, Yeah. This transvestigation is just completely stupid. Nearly 1/3 of LGBTQ plus people reported experiencing harassment for using a bathroom in a 2017 survey by the Harvard Opinion Research Program, as noted by Gender Justice. About 60% of trans people said in a separate study from Trans Equality that they avoided using public restrooms out of fear for their safety. Now, I assume that when they say 1/3, they're talking about trans people. But this is proof that it doesn't have to be trans people. If you happen to be a lesbian who looks boyish, then, obviously you're going to get harassed because, who ever heard of a woman looking like a boy? It's just dumb. Some girls just happen to look like boys, whether they try to or not. Some people just happen to have an androgynous look. Whether they are gay, whether they are straight, whether they are cis, whether they are trans, it doesn't matter. They're not going to necessarily look the way you expect a man to look or a woman to look. And just assuming that a woman who happens to look boyish must be trans, you're just telling on yourself that you think that trans women are obviously looking like men in dresses. And that is not how any of this works. Or that trans men are obvious women who dress in drag or something. It's not the way this works. Most trans people pass. So you wouldn't know if you're talking to a trans person. Unless they tell you. And at that point, does it really, really fucking matter? Unless you're dating this person and are interested in a sexual relationship with them, you really don't need to know that. You really don't need to know if someone is trans, because you're not going to be seeing their genitals. So, what do you care? I just want, people to know they're not alone, Mudra said. They're not the only people this happens to. It's okay to stick up for themselves and be okay with who they are. And that is the end of that article, and I will post the link because there is a video to the gender justice, to this case, to gender justice about this case. And so yeah, if you're one of those who thinks that you're going to catch a trans person using the wrong bathroom, this is proof why you shouldn't do that. Because you never know when the person you've pegged as trans isn't. And again, why are we trying to play gotcha with people's bodies? Most trans people probably pass, number one. And number two, they're in a stall. They're not harming anyone. And they're certainly not creeping on anyone. Men have plenty of opportunities to creep on women. They do not need to pretend to be women to do so. Did these people watch Bosom Buddies and think that was a thing or something? Because Jesus Christ, what the hell is wrong with you? This is not how any of this works. And this girl happens to be a lesbian. So even if she were a trans woman, if she were a trans woman, she would probably, how do you know? How would you know that she's a lesbian? This girl is a lesbian. Should we ban lesbians from women's only spaces because they might get turned on by a woman in the bathroom? No. No, that's not how this works. We lesbians tend to keep to themselves because they don't want the attention. They don't want to take advantage of being in a single sex space. And again, this is a bathroom. There are stalls. This server couldn't see anything of this girl. She had to force her out. So, what does she think this girl would do even if she were trans? She can't see anything. So, what exactly do you think is happening here? So anyway, that is all I have for this video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.